Hello, friend. It's Ric Beattie. I'm the senior minister at Unity of Royal Oak in Royal Oak, Michigan, and it is a delight to spend some time with you in meditation today. Before we do that, I have some things I want to share with you, including today's daily word for March the 15th, 2023, and I share it with permission of Unity, the publishers of Daily Word. We've been publishing Daily Word since the 1920s, and I'm a Unity minister, and this is a Unity church. So we are welcoming you to our philosophy for living, and we think of it that way. By the way, we have a website, unityofroyaloak.org. If you visit there, you can find out all that we have going on, both in person and online, and those things that are hybrid, meaning either or. You can also get our mailing address if you want to write to us. And if there's a button there, donate if you'd like to make a contribution, which makes all of this work that we do possible. All right. And by the way, my name is Ric, R-I-C. My email is ric@unityofroyaloak.org. That's ric@unityofroyaloak.org. And I would love to encourage you. I'm happy to pray with you. We're here to share these principles and practices that I believe transform lives with the whole world. So we're committed to that process, along with a whole lot of other people in our movement. All right. The key word for today is forgiving. The affirmation says, I find peace and contentment in forgiving. I find peace and contentment in forgiving. Holding on to a painful memory is a burden to my mind and body. Forgiving helps me heal and move forward. To forgive, I quiet my mind and become aware of the love that is always a part of me. Turning within, I touch a place of understanding that is beyond hurt. Centered in peace, I begin to release pain and negative thoughts. I can forgive, even if I find it difficult to get past a specific act. I can begin by recognizing the spiritual truth of the one who hurt me. Silently I pray, I forgive you. I release you in love. Surrounding people and situations in love opens the way for release. I trust this process and pray as often as necessary. I release all into divine love, more powerful than any circumstance. And the Bible verse for today is from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6, verse 37. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. And at first I wasn't going to use this daily word reading for today. And I'm not sure why I had some other concept on my mind today, and yet it fits perfectly. Since early in December, my team and I have been holding a young man in prayer and in love and making visits with him and providing some transportation for him. And this young man is in my heart because he ended up in foster care, no idea how, and then at the age of 6 was adopted out of foster care and lived with a family. The mom and dad got divorced, and he lived with his mother, his adopted mother. And then when she found out that he was a member of the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered community, she threw him out. Wants nothing to do with him. Now, this young man has a very rare form of aggressive cancer, childhood cancer. He had it at the age of 19, and he now at 22, and he is in the process of making his transition. The intriguing thing for me is that all he really wants is to not be alone, and all he wanted at first initially was to get his life started like any young person, just to get an apartment and get a life and get a job that he can make a living on. And he wants to help people who are like him, who have been alone or been tossed aside. Unfortunately, he's in the process now of the end part of his life. He's not got long on the planet, and that's startling to him and difficult for him to talk about. And I understand that. What 22-year-old wants to deal with that? He said to me, "I don't want to die." And I said, "I understand that. None of us want to die." And I reminded him to look, I asked him to look around his world right in that moment and see if there was anything missing. And he looked at me and he said, "Well, no, not right now." I said, "You're not dying now, right?" He said, "Not right now." And he said, "I have everything I need." I said, "We call that the now moment. And I invite you to just be in this moment, and then in this moment, and this moment." So I found myself frustrated and angry with, because his biological mother and he have reconnected, and he has again been rejected. And then he reached out again, and it's very tenuous. And I think, how could either of these women, these mothers, reject this young man who's struggling? The reality is, I don't know what the circumstances of their lives are. And my mind makes up stories, and stories for me then often lead to judgments. Then it's not my job. So this business of forgiving has been front and center on my mind. To forgive, I quiet my mind and become aware of the love that is always part of me. I can forgive. And as I forgive, I am forgiven. I know this to be true. So I don't know what you have going on in your life. I know some of you who connect with the meditations, and many I don't know. But whatever you have going on, if it's a forgiveness issue, hear this. We don't forgive for other people. It has really nothing to do with them. We forgive because we don't want to be tied to the judgment, to the anger, to the lack of forgiveness anymore. We want to disconnect ourselves from it and find ourselves free from the burden of judgment. And it is a judgment, it is a burden. It weighs on us. Because then if I'm thinking about what somebody else should have done, it's useless. I can never solve that problem. The only one I can make sure that does his part is me. I can do my part to be authentic and in integrity and as honest as I can be. And so that's my journey for the day, is forgiveness. I'll be seeing this person in the hospital a little later today, and every once in a while he wants to talk about what's going on, and sometimes not. And it doesn't matter. We don't have to talk about dying. We can be about the business of living. You can be about the business of living, and it's simpler as we forgive, as we release the people we've been keeping our thumb on or keeping nailed to the cross, you know. This is Lent, and what if I let go of my judgment? What if I let go of it? So I'm going to start some music. Today I'm going to use 6 Degrees of Meditation by Lange, and we're going to spend some time in the silence. There we go. Lange is our creative director and my colleague, and she wrote this for us. So allow yourself to become centered and still. Just just invite your body to relax. In keeping with the idea of forgiveness, let go of anything that you're holding a judgment or an annoyance about. Just release it. And like tension, like stress, let it flow away. It's a nothing. Darkness is a nothing. A no thing. Let your heart and mind be open to an experience of the one. So scan your body, start down at your feet, move your way up, your toes, your feet, your ankles, shins, calves. Are you carrying any tension? If there's some tension, like I have it in my shoulder, and so I invite it to flow away. I invite it to return to the nothing. And in this moment, remember that all is well. To meditate is to turn within. To meditate is to turn away from the external, all of its noise, all of its stuff, all of its drama and trauma and war and fighting, and to allow ourselves a moment to be with peace, to be fully present in this moment, to be awake and aware that there is so much more to us than we think there is. And let's begin this journey of some time in the stillness with 3 deep breaths. We call them deep breaths or cleansing breaths. We're filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. So let's take a deep breath. Hold it. Sigh it out. Another deeper breath in. Hold it. Sigh it out. One more deep breath in. Hold it. And release. And now allow your breathing to take its normal pattern. And should you hear any noise that disturbs you, distracts you, or if your mind wanders off, and it will, just bring yourself gently back to the breath. The breath is our teacher. And then follow the next breath inward to the place of communion, of connection with that presence and power that some call God. And let's give our minds the job of just noticing our breath, being very focused on our breath, because it keeps the mind busy, gives it something to do. As we then can become the observer, the watcher, the noticer. You can meditate with your eyes wide open, I often do, or with them softly focused or closed. That's your preference, unless you're driving. Then I encourage you to keep them open and not be meditating at all. So let's spend just a few minutes in the stillness between thoughts. And as we remain in this meditative state, let us call to mind any personal issue that you would like prayer for. Maybe you're dealing with an illness or loneliness, perhaps depression. A woman called me yesterday here for prayer. She described her vision being dark. So we prayed about that. And praying isn't doing nothing, it's absolutely doing something, because everything starts with energy. Maybe you've got something on your heart or mind, a dear friend having surgery, a cancer, a diagnosis, some kind. I'm thinking of Liz and Sharon. And now, just allow yourself to be open as we pray. There's a lot going on in our world right now. Lots of snow in the Sierra and rain in Northern California, and even in Southern California, snow in New England. Lots of people dealing with stuff. Tensions in the air. So let's pray. Father, Mother, and everything God, we give thanks for your presence with and in us always. We give thanks for the ability to forgive, to release things, to let them go. We give thanks for this power of wisdom that guides us to know when it's ours to be involved and when it's ours to release. It's our intention here today to forgive all other persons we think have hurt us, and to forgive ourselves as well for what we think we didn't do. Let all things be for us a call to be closer to you, a call to be more authentic, a call to be real, and to be a blessing on our world. And so it is. Amen. And my friends, remember that the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. All is well. Namaste.